Hello, Mark Red Larson here for the Dreamcatcher podcast. Thank you for joining us. Today, my guest is
Tiffany Barnum.
and Tiffany, thank you for joining us on the Dreamcatcher podcast. We were just talking that we haven't known each other for very long.
Couple months.
Yeah, and the first time was actually at Goodwill. God had told me that I needed to clean my basement out, which oh my gosh, he was right. And he told me that day that we met that I was supposed to, because most of the time I took my stuff to Goodwill and Kearney.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "No, you need to take it to Hastings today." And I had never, the first time, that was the first time I ever dropped anything off at Goodwill. And then you came out the door, and it's been great since. I mean, we gave each other a hug because we're definitely huggers. And Tiffany, what's your background? I mean, you're a Goodwill, you're assistant manager right now
I am
at
assistant manager.
Goodwill in Hastings, Nebraska. So what got you up to that point in your life?
So prior to Goodwill, I was working as the general manager at Sonic here in Hastings,
Okay.
and I was in a relapse. I had been drinking and using on the job.
Okay.
My family was having a really, really hard time with the amount of hours I was putting in. Um, Sonic is no joke. It's a lot of hours
Oh,
you're
I
on
bet.
call, even when you're at home.
Really?
And so the general manager at Goodwill used to be the general manager of Sonic.
Oh, really?
And so
Okay.
when I was ready to leave Sonic, I called her and I asked her if she had any positions available that I was looking to get sober.
Okay.
But I needed to align a new job before I
Right.
quit my job.
Exactly.
And
Yes.
she said, yeah, that she had a job available for me. I just needed to apply and go through the process.
Cool.
So I applied, I went through the process, I got the job. I then quit my job at Sonic. I gave the notice and everything. I then took a couple weeks off, so I could get back into the
Sure.
rooms of AA and NA.
Sure.
Um, and I got about 3 weeks sober under my belt before I started working again.
Very cool.
So then I just established some roots back into the rooms and with a sponsor and spent some time with my kid.
Mm-hmm.
Because well, in my active addiction, I was just about working.
Yeah.
It was crappy, but
I can understand that. So we were just talking. You have a daughter that's 6,
yeah, 6.5.
so that just had a very good lemonade candy stand.
Yeah.
I mean, she really crushed it.
Yeah.
So, which is awesome. I think that is. But so, what got you to the point of wanting to change your life?
So I have been in addiction since I was 10,
Oh,
and
wow.
I am 33.
Oh, wow.
There are multiple traumas. I finally got to the point that I just wanted to better myself, and I know that the drugs and the alcohol was not the root of the problem, but it wasn't helping the problem
Right. Right.
whatsoever. Um, and I'm not gonna get any better mentally if I'm feeding the disease.
True.
So,
No,
I figured I'd take that first step, and
yeah,
you
that
can't
has
help yourself mentally if you're still using.
no, and I could see that. And I would think taking that first step has got to be, I mean, gigantic, I would
Yeah.
think. My gosh. So 10, what happened to 10? I mean, that's really young.
Yeah. My parents got divorced, and that's when I was first sexually abused. Um, and at 10 years old, in 1999, there was a small town, not a whole lot of resources.
Yeah.
I didn't know who to go to, and instead of reaching out for help, I bottled it up, and I carried that pain with me for a very long time, and to cope with it, I used.
Yeah. And I could see at 10. I mean, my gosh, you don't have the years to really deal with something like that. Oh my gosh. And where did you grow up at?
Ainsworth,
Ainsworth. Okay. Okay. How far is that from here?
about 3.5 hours.
Oh, it's quite a ways in. Okay. So how'd you get to Hastings then?
Well, I was in Kansas City, Missouri when I found out I was pregnant,
Okay.
and my mom and my little sister lived over in Alda.
Okay.
And while I'm pregnant and I was using at the time that I found out I was pregnant, I moved back to Norfolk. Things didn't work out the best there. And so I moved up to Grand Island. I got into, the Twin Towers in Grand Island.
Okay, okay.
I was eligible for those. And then eventually, the first 2 years of my daughter's life, I had caught a bunch of charges,
Okay.
and I ended up in jail. I
Oh,
signed over
wow.
rights, temporary rights to my daughter, to my mom.
Wow.
And while I was in jail, DHHS offered me assistance in getting into the bridge here in Hastings,
Okay.
which is a mom and me treatment
Really?
program
Okay.
for mental health and drug abuse.
Okay.
Um, and at the time, it was just, I just want to get out of jail.
I can understand that.
And so I took it. I then ended up getting put on drug court in three different counties concurrent with one another.
Good.
I graduated all three counties.
Okay.
So I got all my charges dropped.
Awesome.
Within like the first 3 weeks of being at the bridge, I got my daughter back full time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It started off just supervised visits. I think we did like 2 or 3 overnights, and then she was back with me full time.
That had to be so great.
It was. It was. She we were at the bridge for about 6 months,
Okay.
and then COVID hit,
Oh, yeah.
and we had the smallest room in the bridge,
Okay.
and we shared a room.
Okay.
And when COVID hit, she was in daycare, and she kept getting exposed, and with my job, I kept getting exposed, so
see
we
that,
kept getting
yeah.
quarantined.
Oh,
And with my mental health, it was hurting me more than the bridge was helping me.
I can see that.
And so they graduated me one day. My counselor came in and was like, "You're graduating next week." Normally you get like 2 months notice.
Oh, wow. You really, oh, wow.
Yeah.
That was accelerated to say the least.
So I got a week's notice that I was graduating the next week,
Okay.
and they moved me into their sober living house. It's called the Next Step House.
Okay.
Me and my daughter were the first mom and me to move into that house. Normally it's just women, no
Okay.
children.
Okay.
But given the exception of COVID,
Right, yeah.
week's notice, no housing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see why they did that. Yeah.
So then I moved into the Next Step House. And I lived there for like 7 months with other women and children.
Okay.
That was a little rougher than living at the bridge.
I could see that.
So then I moved out of there, and I got my apartment that I still live in today.
Okay.
And I've jumped a few jobs here and there, but I ended up at Sonic, and I worked there for like 19 months. And initially, that's where the relapse had really began. It was just, I took over a job that I had no idea what I was doing. Like,
Oh,
I don't have a
that's
high
tough.
school diploma. I got no training.
Okay.
I was back there for a week when I took over as the GM.
Oh, my word.
Yeah.
Wow. Talk about jumping into the fire. My gosh.
Um,
Unbelievable.
but I tried my hardest. And then December of 2023, the company had taken me down to Cancun for a convention,
Okay.
and I was in full-blown relapse. And I'm in Cancun,
Yeah.
and everything's paid for.
Yep. Yep.
And I was drinking heavily, and
Yeah, you're definitely surrounded with all that down there. Yeah.
an event happened that a male thought it was okay to lay his hands on me, another Sonic employee. And
Jeez.
that's when the brain waves really started
I
going like
can
this.
believe that.
This isn't okay anymore, you know?
Great. I'm glad.
So, end of January, I started looking for a new job, and February 17th of 2024, I got clean and sober. And I've been clean and
Congratulations.
sober
Yes.
since.
Awesome. It's very much
Yeah.
congratulations. So, I mean, that is, I can't imagine how it's probably moment by moment, I would
Mhm.
think, and
Yes.
maybe day by day, because life happens,
Mhm.
and it really does happen. So, no, I mean, so what does your what is your dream? What were your dreams when you were a kid?
Um, I mean, I really just wanted to be a mom. That was
Awesome.
about it.
Okay.
And I'm meeting that. I want to be able to raise my daughter to be
Mm-hmm.
self-sufficient,
Awesome.
healthy, and a
Yes.
smart little girl, and not to take no bull crap from no man.
And I have not met her, but I think from what you told me a little bit ago, I think she's well on her way there, which is
Yeah.
sounds like she's gonna be a little entrepreneur.
Yes. Yes.
So
Um, Now I'd eventually like to go back and get my GED, and
Cool.
I would like to cut my hours back and be more with her and
I
involved in the school and
can understand that
get
too.
her into some events. Like right now, her dad works a lot. I work 40 plus hours a
So tough
week.
to.
Um, but I mean, we make it work. She's really involved in my recovery. She goes to meetings with me all
Really, that is
the
so
time,
awesome. I love that.
and she loves it too. I have been told in the rooms that there's the chance that she may become an addict because she's the product of two addicts.
Okay. Yes,
Um,
I can see that.
so I'm raising her in the rooms.
I think that's very good. Do
Mhm.
proactive,
Mhm.
and I think that is very good. And um, so how often do you go to like your meetings, or how is that like weekly, or is
Oh,
that,
every
or
day.
it is every day?
Every
Really?
day. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Wednesdays are about the only day that I don't go to a meeting.
So it must be here in Hastings then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's multiple meetings
Is there?
all over the
Okay.
place. Yeah.
Okay. So how long does the meeting last, or does that vary?
It's usually an hour long.
Okay.
Sometimes it runs a little longer, just depending on if somebody really needs to speak, you know.
So you see the stuff on TV movies. Is that kind of what the meetings are like?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Where you stand up kind of and all that,
Well,
or not so much?
you only really stand up if you're like celebrating a birthday and
Okay.
speaking in front of a group, but it's more, you wait your turn and hi,
Okay.
I'm Tiffany, I'm an addict alcoholic,
Okay.
you know?
Which I know when you can admit it, that's on
Hmm.
anything when
Hmm.
you can actually. So what? Okay, in let's say 5 years, What would like your life to look like? If I can get that said.
I by then I hope that my family would be in a house,
Cool.
hopefully buying the house, not
Awesome.
renting a
Yep.
house. Um, I would like to be in the day services part of Goodwill. That's my goal.
So what's that?
Um, it's more working with the handicap of
Wow.
people of Hastings instead of the donations.
So I did not know this was a thing. Day
Mhm,
services. That
mhm,
is every Goodwill got that, or is
mhm.
that just so? I mean, how do you can just anybody help with this, or is that
I don't know
employees?
for sure.
Kind of.
It's a different job. I mean, I see the job
Oh,
postings on Indeed. I want to work my way up to
okay.
it,
It's just another position at
Hmm.
Goodwill.
Hmm.
Okay, I had no idea they did that.
Yeah.
So how would you? What does that job look like then?
I don't know for sure. I know that they do like outings, teaching, helping guide the
I
handicapped
love that.
and how
That's
to
so
live
awesome.
a daily life.
That is just amazing until you really. I mean, how many things you miss when you don't? Because I had no idea, and I like
So
Goodwill very
like
well.
that's how what some of our donations go to is
Really.
when we sell those donations on our floors, some of that money goes into helping those people.
It's just a win-win. Okay,
Yeah.
that's so awesome. I mean, gosh, I did not know that.
Mhm.
So where's Goodwill located? I mean, where's your headquarters?
Our corporate office is in Grand Island.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. No, I'm just amazed how much I know when I started helping the Y, I realized how many things that they do too. And it is amazing. So, okay, so doing that, and buying your own house, I was going to ask you, so to get your GED, how much time would that take?
I don't know, honestly. I have tried many times
Have
before.
you? Okay.
Yeah. I dropped out of high school when I was like 16. I went into treatment in Lincoln and they had me like drop out of high school so
Okay.
that I could start a GED program while I was in treatment.
Sure.
But I graduated the treatment program before I completed my GED. Well, then I ended up
Um,
relapsing and it's just been a struggle since. And like, I'm not even trying right now because last time I did my GED, I'm like a hands-on type person.
I, me
And
too.
I was struggling one day and the woman like she just got too close and it like
Mhm.
brought some trauma up for me and I walked out and I never went back.
I can understand that. All
Yeah.
those things you probably don't even realize are going to be
Hmm.
triggered,
Yep.
until they are triggered.
Mhm.
I mean, so do you ever have, I mean, somebody like going down the street in Hastings, or somebody sits too close. Like the other day at the library, no, it was at Blue Moon the other day, and everybody wanted to sit very close to me, and
Yeah.
it's just like, this is, I like people, but this made it a little too close.
Yeah.
So,
I deal with a lot of anxiety,
okay,
but I'm learning anxiety is more a form of fear.
really,
Um, I have trouble at Walmart. I don't know if it's because of the people or because I'm a child,
I
but
could
I
see
have
that.
trouble in big groups unless it's like people I know,
Sure,
like,
sure.
my meetings, some of my meetings, there's like 50, 60 people in there, and
Well,
I'm totally cool because I know most of them. But I go into Walmart and there's 100 people in
that you
there
have,
and I'm
yeah,
like, oh no, 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 I can't do that.
no.
Um, but I am doing counseling. I am
Okay,
medicated now. I'm working the 12 steps.
cool.
Those things make a difference in my life today.
Well, I could see that. So now I can understand that feeling because that's just the other day when I was there. It's just like, I like personal space here
Yeah.
to a point. And yeah, sometimes at Walmart, you just,
hmm
or in other places. So will you, with what you're doing, you think you eventually, I mean, the anxiety, how do you, I have friends that have a lot of anxiety. How do you deal with that?
I pray a lot.
Praise good.
I do carry meds on me.
Well, and they do too.
Yeah.
So they don't
Um,
like a lot of times the way that makes them feel, I know.
I
So,
mean, it's gotten better. At first, it was like I was smoking weed.
okay.
I would get like super stoned off of it. Like I would even get the munchies and get
Oh, but,
goofy.
right, right.
But at the time, I had just started all new meds,
Okay.
so it was affecting me a little differently. Now it doesn't affect me like that
Okay.
anymore. Um, and it just mellows me out
Okay.
and it slows my brain waves down so I can process
Kind
everything
of,
that's going on. Also, I'm a little more prepared now that if I need to go to Walmart, hey,
you
can
know
you
that,
watch my daughter for a
right.
little bit?
You know what you're
She's a part of the
going
problem.
into,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and I imagine your daughter has a lot of energy too.
Yes, she's 100%, 100% of the time.
Oh, if you only could have some of that energy for later on in life. Oh my gosh. So that is so cool. So would you ever, I mean, start your own business?
Um, my partner thinks that I would be really good at it,
I think
but
so too.
I think I would. I try not to future trip is what I call it and plan ahead. Um, I would like to do a cafe. I really like food. I've always worked in the food business. Always.
Okay.
I'm 33. I started waitressing when I was 13.
Really? Okay.
I would really, really like to open a cafe.
So what does this cafe look like?
Oh, tacos and burgers
Oh,
and
Taka, you had me right
fries
there.
and
Oh,
pizzas and
I'm there.
yeah, yeah.
Would you want to, maybe don't know location, would you want to do it like in Hastings or?
I would. I personally don't want to leave Hastings because
Okay.
this is where my recovery is based. Um, Now that also is really selfish of me because my partner's family is in Kansas City.
Oh, okay.
And he does not get to see his family very
That
often.
makes it tough then.
And they're important to him too,
Oh,
you
yes.
know.
Yes.
Um, So I don't know. He just started a really good job here a couple months ago.
Cool.
So that may change in his opinion too.
Yeah.
If it does change and we decide to move like halfway, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. You
But
just
I
have
really,
to.
really like
I do
Hastings.
too.
It's been really good to me. I've been here for 4 years now.
Okay. No, I used to kind of like Kearney better, and I kind of discounted Hastings, and now it's the other way around.
hmm
I mean, I just like what's going on. This library in itself, where we're recording this, is an amazing library.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never been in quite one like this, and I wish Minden, where I'm from, had a library even close to this. I mean, no, but Hastings just, I like the vibe
hmm
of Hastings very much. So would you ever do a podcast of your own?
Oh, I don't know.
I could see you doing all that.
Maybe.
So, because you really, since I've even known you a couple months, I can just see the progress that
hmm
you're making. So, and your posts on Facebook, which
Yes.
I really like.
Yes.
And so, since all my podcasts are going to spirituality, pretty much, do you, I mean, are you spiritual?
I'm spiritual. I am not religious.
That would be me too.
Yeah.
Yes, because religion, if I had to be religious, I would not.
Yeah. Yeah. When I was younger, I was always like, go to church. I
Yeah,
was taken to church. I had no interest in it whatsoever. I
me
was
either.
sleeping in pews. Um, you know, and it's taken a lot to rebuild that belief.
I
Just
can see that.
because I have felt for a long time that I was abandoned, you know, but I see the miracles working in my life today.
Hmm.
And so the belief is getting stronger and stronger every day.
Yep. just like when God crosses our paths that
Mm-hmm.
day,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever you call that person or
Yeah.
that the entity.
Yep.
So, because it's like, I've gotten to the point where if I listen to what even God addresses me sometimes, it's
Yeah.
like, so okay, I don't have to even think about that. And I told my wife that, and she's like, really? It's like, yeah. And if I do pretty much what he tells me to do for the day, it's been really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And because I always kind of knew God, I thought God was real, but the
Mm-hmm.
last year especially, it's just like, whoa. I mean, it's been amazing. And no, and I think churches, I think they do a lot of harm. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I don't like. There's very few churches that I like, or the religious part where they
Mm-hmm.
kind of beat you over the head, and it's just like no. And this person I'm talking about has never been that way to me. He's been like a really nice fatherly figure,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, well, you should fear, it's like, have not, never had that come across. And maybe if I did something really wrong, he would. I don't know, but he's the one that came to me. He said he came to me and because I was doing the podcast, and he said because churches were throwing, people aren't going to church like they used to,
Mm-hmm.
and he said they're not finding me, and he's like, I have to keep up with what's going on. It's like, okay, this is cool, and he says because I have people who want me to be on stage, speaking, and he says I don't really want you to be on per se a regular stage speaking events. He says, I want you to be on the world stage. And I thought, well, that'd probably be this,
Right.
and it's just been really awesome. He sometimes gives me ideas for this and definitely directs me. So, but no, I'm all for spirituality, but I just wish churches were, they just do harm. They just do harm. They keep people that would maybe need guidance when they have all these rules and everything, and it's just like, you're not helping. And that's why Cheryl, my wife, and I don't go to church. I just
Me
I
and my family do attend to church. Not regularly. We've been really bad about it actually, but it's not, they don't expect it of us either.
Okay,
They accept us as we are.
awesome,
They don't, you
yeah,
know,
which I cannot
um,
stand.
and it's only been since I got sober.
Okay,
Um, and I think it's more of giving my daughter, that
I understand what you mean.
you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? The avenues.
and I agree because I with stuff that you deal with in life, I look back and I'm so glad my parents did take me to church when I was
Mm-hmm.
getting to have that background or that
Mm-hmm.
and so a church here in Hastings.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'd already like that church.
Yeah.
Just so
I
how'd you find this church?
So when I was younger in Ainsworth, I used to attend the Nazarene.
Okay.
My best friend in Ainsworth attends the Nazarene. And when I
Okay.
got sober, she was like, look, I think you would appreciate this church in Hastings.
Nice.
Her husband just passed away, so she's
Mm.
taking over the church.
Oh, wow.
Email.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I'm desperate at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started going.
Good.
And they have just been really good. And
Awesome.
it's just a miracle. Like, there have been days that I'm sitting in my crap and I'm like, man, I want to go get high really bad. And all of a sudden my phone goes off
Mm-hmm.
and it's the pastor texting me. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh my God, that is my God speaking to
It
me.
is. It's exactly, and that's the way it works too. And people, they look at you crazy, and it's like, if you ever get to that point, that is the way it
Yeah.
works.
And it's happened so many times. Like, I'm
Yep.
coming up on my 5 months, and it's happened probably 8 times since I've
Mhm.
known her.
Yeah.
Like, that is my God speaking to me. Other people have their own beliefs, but that's my God.
I hear you. And everybody's like, well, isn't that a nice coincidence? It's like, I don't
No.
believe in coincidences at all, or luck. And it's like, no, luck is usually who you, like God or whoever. I
Mhm.
mean, it's just, and it's comforting, I
Yeah.
think. It's just like there's another being or whatever entity out there that is there, kind of got your back.
Yeah.
And I love it. And my wife, I pray that she gets to that point. She's been very supportive this last year on this journey of me getting to this, because she's like, "Are you losing it?" It's like, "Oh no, I'm just gaining it."
Right.
So she really tries, and I told her, and they told me it's like, stop torturing your wife. She's not on that part of her journey yet.
Right.
And so I try not to bring it up, but it's still, and she's getting there. She's definitely getting there. And I thought, because she's been through multiple cancer, and stuff like that, and especially the 2015, 2016 where it was advanced. I mean, it was very advanced colon cancer. And I thought, because she said, well, I had faith in. And it's like, I'm surprised that that didn't carry over to this. But she said this has been all different. It's like, okay. So I don't know. But so do you and your daughter go on outings or do you do walks and stuff? Do you work out?
I do not work out.
Okay.
We do events. I like to garden.
Oh,
Um,
awesome.
God made dirt and dirt don't hurt.
That's true.
Um,
Gardening is so cool. I love it too.
so we did a flower bed this year.
Uh-huh.
We like to walk around the park and stuff, walk around the block.
Yeah,
Our time is mainly filled with work,
I can see that.
home events, and meetings.
Yeah, I
Um,
can definitely see that.
what was it we did yesterday? Yesterday we went to a step study.
Okay.
A friend of mine hosted a step study at her house where it was just
Cool.
a bunch of us girls gathered
Nice.
and we worked on our own steps, but we did it in a group setting. So
Very
then there
cool.
was like that physical support of one another being there.
Nice.
And for me that went really, really well.
Cool.
There was a few other girls that was like I enjoyed it too, you know.
Mhm.
And my partner works a lot, so my daughter just she
Yeah.
goes with me everywhere and nobody minds, you know. She's
No,
a
and
pretty good kid.
all the things she's taking in, that, and at that age, you take everything in.
Yep.
So, no, it sounds like, I mean, I wonder when she's maybe you guys open your business together. I
Yeah.
can see you doing that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, she sounds like she's got it'd be interesting. Right now, she probably want to open her stands and she did so well. Did you say maybe a new bike coming up or something like
Yeah,
that?
so she's trying to raise some money to get a new bicycle. Hers is too small for her.
I love that.
She's just gotten too tall for it. And so she made a little over half the money she needs.
Cool. That is so cool.
She picked one out on the Walmart app.
She's a today's kid.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. She could live off the Wi-Fi
Uh-huh.
and YouTube. So we are gonna do another one on Sunday.
Awesome.
Yep.
That is so awesome. I mean, yeah, it'd be interesting to see. It's like, what would she want to be doing? When she
Yeah.
gets out of school, and I would guess she probably has some ideas already.
Yeah, I mean it's changed a few times.
Oh,
When
yeah.
I worked at Sonic, she
Right.
wanted to work at Sonic with me.
Well, that's so that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's so sweet. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I just so okay. You have everything's good. What does your life look like? I mean, I don't know. I hope you don't have to deal with all this, but you might. But would you do something to help people that are have gone through what you've gone through?
I mean, so there's kind of a saying in recovery, you got to give back what was so freely given to you.
Really? Okay.
You don't have to, but you really
Sure.
should.
Sure. Right.
And so like when people call, I answer the phone. It doesn't matter what time of day.
Nice.
And I'm always like really clear. Are you looking for advice or are you just looking to vent?
Right.
People need rides. I give rides, you know?
Cool.
People need food. I do my best to give them what I can.
Sure. Right.
I don't lend money out.
Now, and I think that is smart.
I think that's a healthy boundary.
I do too. Yeah.
I take people to meetings. I
Okay.
go to events. There's actually an event coming up this weekend in Grand Island that
Okay.
a few of us are going up to it. It's a
Awesome.
sober event, you know.
Very
There's
good.
speakers, food, a dance. They block the whole street off for it.
That is so cool. Would you
Yeah.
want to be a speaker? I could see you being up
Um,
on stage speaking.
Well, it's you tell your life story,
Okay.
what happened that led you into addiction, and then how you got out of it.
Okay.
And I would, but I'd like to have a little more clean time, at least a year.
And I understand that too. I
Yep.
definitely understand that. But I could see you up there having your own event.
Hmm.
So, yeah. No, I see very good things for you.
Yeah.
I am so glad that God crossed our paths.
Me too.
I mean, it has been awesome. And I haven't even been to Goodwill lately. I've kind of got, not completely, but I still could clean more in my house. But I haven't been to Goodwill for a while. So, and sure would agree we could clean more. Oh my gosh. But I guess that's a blessing to have all that stuff. But sometimes it's not a blessing having too much
Yeah.
on that too. So Tiffany, anything else before we end the podcast that you would like to share with the audience?
Well, it's recovery based, so closed mouths don't get fed. If you need help, reach out. Google
Amen.
has all the resources to lead you to meetings, to
Really?
lead you into detox.
Okay.
You just gotta Google search it.
Okay.
You can find it. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
your phone is not 800 pounds.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
like 32 ounces.
Right. Right.
Pick up the phone and call somebody.
Amen.
There are so many resources out there and so many people that are willing to help you. The shame and the guilt is not worth carrying.
Yeah.
I have been carrying the pain for 24 years, and it's just been too long, and all
Just
it
a long
took
time.
was getting up and going into a meeting and asking for help.
Yeah. And I could see how that could be really tough.
Yep, it
But it,
was, but it's been really rewarding
yeah.
too.
Yeah, and it just shows. I can
Hmm.
just tell you're or whatever. You
Yeah.
just you look very happy.
Oh, yeah.
So very, very happy. So I think on that we'll just end the podcast.
Okay.
Maybe down the line we'll do a follow-up
Okay.
podcast to see how things are going. And I'm sure it'll be maybe have your daughter too.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that'd be awesome. I mean, she'll probably run the podcast. She might have her own podcast. No, I think that's so cool. So, well, thank you for being my guest
Thank you.
and being my friend too.
Yes, and thank you
And
for having me.
and have good Friday, good weekend over in Grand Island. And until next time, thank you.
Thank you.